Hi, it's the Rawesome Vegan Gal here, and today is I guess this is part 13, but it's part 2 of my video from last week that I did on the nuts from Foods Alive, and I will have a link below this video to their website so you check out all the products they offer. So today I decided to do something with most of the nuts except for one of them. So I'm going to be using today Brazil nuts, and then the almonds, and the pecans, and the walnuts. So what I decided to do is I'm going to be making what you can call it, either a pate, a spread, what else, other names you can call it, or it can be made into a sauce or a dressing if you dilute it more, or a pesto. You can also make it into like a nut cheese where you ferment it, but I'm not doing that. And it can be in any type of style of flavor that you like. It could be savory, it could be sweet, it could be spicy, it could be a mix of some of them or all of them. But I decided to do a savory one today. And so just so you get kind of the idea of what I did was, first I soaked the nuts so they're not in the water anymore, but I mixed all the nuts together. I soaked them overnight, maybe a little longer. Usually it's 8 hours, but maybe I did 12. So I did a half a cup walnuts, 3 ounces of pecans, 2 ounces of Brazil nuts, 3 ounces of almonds. Now today I'm actually using just a small, it's called a personal blender. This is what it looks like. So what I'm going to do, because it doesn't have as much power as a regular blender, is I'm actually going to probably chop up the nuts a little bit first. And I'm only going to do half a recipe. I'm not going to do all the nuts that are in the bowl. And what else I'm going to use is some zucchini I like for thickening, and some celery I'm going to put in, and also you could use some celery for inside afterwards to like give it a little texture. I'm also going to be using some chickpea miso, and this is from Miso Master. I've actually reviewed their products. And also I have just some ginger powder in a jar, and a little bit of kelp powder, and then some lemon juice. Now what I'm going to do is first put the lemon juice and the zucchini in, and the celery to blend, to give it some liquid in order to blend it. And then I put it in this BPA-free container to blend it up. You can use other things. The sky's the limit. Like for example, if you wanted to make it sweeter, you could use something like date sugar. I have this from a company called Shields. And I will have also links to all these products I'm talking about. Most of them I've reviewed on my YouTube channel. I also have coconut crystals. That's from Coconut Secret for sweetening. And then, I'm going to probably add a little nutritional yeast. That's from Foods Alive, the brand that I'm reviewing. Also, to make it sweeter, or you want to make it a nice flavor, you can add some Carob powder. I mean, hey, you never know what you might like to do. There's so many options that are available. Put in some maca powder. Really, there's endless ideas of what you can do with it. So, like I said, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take probably half of this zucchini, and let's see, I got my knife over here. So I'm going to take half of the zucchini, like about that, the thicker part. And I'm going to chop everything up pretty small, only because this is not as powerful of a blender as if you'd use, let's say, like a Vitamix or any kind of like powerful blender, because I want to make sure that it'll blend first. Blend well, I should say, because it might not blend as well as other ones, because it's not meant for large quantities of items. So I'm just going to chop that up kind of small. I'm sorry if you can't see what I'm doing exactly. It's just my kitchen setup is a little different than it used to be, so I'm doing the best I can. So I'm just making them into like little pieces like this. And since there's more liquid, a little more liquid that comes out of zucchini, hopefully it'll blend faster. And I'm going to try to make them a little thinner. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to juice some of that lemon. I have a lemon reamer as well, excuse me, under here. So I'll juice that. I'll probably do half a lemon, just so that I get a lot of more liquid. So I'm cutting up the zucchini now. Sorry if you can't see it. Again, I don't have the most ideal, I guess, kitchen as most people do, but try to work with what I have. So I think I've got it almost all chopped up here. I know you can't see me. I don't have the camera in front of me. It's kind of to the side. So that's the way it goes. Do what you can with what you got. Okay, so I got all the zucchini chopped up, but before I put that in, I'm going to actually put the lemon juice in here first. So that'll make it easier. So I'm going to cut my lemon. Got another knife over here, a smaller knife. So I'm going to cut my lemon in half. And again, oh, for citrus, if you didn't want to use lemon, you could use lime. If you want it sweeter, you could use orange. Other options you could use, if you want it more vinegary, you could use things like coconut vinegar. You can use, we'll start with half lemon, see if you want coconut vinegar, balsamic vinegar, white wine vinegar, red wine vinegar. But again, be careful with vinegars because they're going to be stronger than a lemon or a lime. I want to make sure I get all the seeds out before I juice it. Because you don't want it to be too strong, because then it'll be. But again, what you should do is opt for less if you use vinegars, and then you can always add more. Sorry, this lemon has a lot of seeds. I want to make sure I don't get any of them. Well, I'm just going to start squeezing it into the container. Hopefully no seeds will come into it, and I'll just watch for them. Yep, there comes one. Okay, here's another one over there. It's easier to get out the seeds out of a small container than if I was doing this in a big blender, so that has its benefit. So let me see here, got a few more little seeds coming out. Okay. And why do we soak the nuts, like I said last week? Especially the dark nuts, they say that they have phytates or enzyme inhibitors, so when you soak them, they make them easier to digest, and you absorb the nutrients. Like I said, I don't know if anyone's ever proven that scientifically or have done any tests on people to show that they're absorbing more of the nutritional benefits of the nuts, but I think I got all the seeds out of here. But that would be interesting, I think, if someone would do that. So I think now I could juice it all with my reamer. You can see that. Like again, I'm going to use the whole half of it. So it's always good when you're blending things to start with the liquid portion, or let's say you're using something like a tomato. Then you put that in first, or a cucumber. Because like this, the idea is I'm trying to avoid using any water. I'd rather the liquid come from the food itself. It's much purer actually too. But I think I got most of the lemon juice out of this half. Again, I may need to use more. Now what I may do too, so it'll blend nicer, is put some of the seasonings like the miso and the kelp and the ginger in as well at this time, instead of waiting till I blend the nuts. And like things like a Brazil nut is really tough, so I may put much less. But again, I'm going to chop them up really fine. I think would be a better idea. It would make it work better. Okay, I think I got all the lemon out of this one. Whoops. A little on the counter there. So now I'm going to add, before I add the zucchini, I'm going to sort of rinse my hands. Excuse me for I'm back to the camera, but my sink is on the other side of it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some kelp. I don't have that much left. Just have some kelp powder, so I'm going to put a little in there. Just maybe like, I don't know, half a teaspoon or maybe less. Like I said, I don't have much. I'm probably using up whatever's in this jar. So I usually get my spices and stuff in bulk. And then ginger, again, if you're not a big fan of ginger, don't overdo it. Start with less. I love ginger, so for me it's never enough. Okay, so I got some ginger in there. Again, that's just, you have to play with how much you want in there. Then I'm going to add the miso. And the miso gives it, miso has probiotics, in case you didn't know about miso. I've done a video with this from this company, Miso Master, on my channel. So it's really good for you. So I like adding this. And this is a chickpea one. If you're not a fan of using soy, this is soy-free and they don't add any yeast and it's organic and all that. So let's get some of that in there. So I'm going to probably take about, I don't know, let's say almost maybe a teaspoon, just to get an idea. We'll see if it needs more. But the idea with recipes when you do them, even if someone gives you an actual amount, you may want to opt for less, especially with the seasoning parts, because for you, maybe too much. Like if you're going to use something spicy, like, you know, you put cayenne or stuff like that, or chilies or something, and you can handle some, but you may not be able to handle as much as other people, so opt for less for yourself. So now I'm going to start putting the zucchini in. Oops, let me get my knife out of the way here. I'm going to start putting my zucchini in here. And I might, like I said, I might need more lemon juice. I have to see how well this will blend. And I'm not going to do too much at first. Oh, and the celery too I could do after. Maybe I'll just start first with about half of the zucchini. And then I have my little cover here that goes right on. This also comes, this is a company, try this, it also comes with an adapter where you could use the glass one, but I don't have that much. So we're going to do that and see how it goes. And hopefully it actually works. I hope the blender. Hopefully this plug, I didn't check it out. I just moved to this place, so uh-oh. We may have a problem. It's not blending. So, what do we do now? We gotta maybe try the other plug. Sorry, this is a live video. Uh-oh. Trouble. I may have to test it. Huh. I didn't know I'd have a problem here. I should have probably tested it before I did it. Okay, we've got a problem. What do they say? What is that? Okay, there's a plug over here, but you're not going to be able to see me. I hope it works. Maybe I can bring it over here. I hope it works, please. I got to do this. Yay! There we go. All right, look at that. Now I can hold up near for you to see. So that means that plug has to be fixed. Okay, well, I'll unplug it for now, but I'm glad it worked. See, that's what happens sometimes. You don't know what you're going to get. So, now that it actually liquefied pretty good, I'm going to add some more of the zucchini. I think we got a good consistency there. It has a nice smell too. I think that's from the ginger and the miso. Also the lemon. There wasn't much kelp in there, so you can always add other things like dulse powder as well, or pieces of seaweed if you want. Okay, now we're going to add some of the celery too. Again, I'm going to chop them up into small pieces. I'm going to keep some if I want to add some at the end. And then I'll show you what you could do with it afterwards. And I want to keep mine kind of thick. Again, the nuts are still going to go in there, so the likelihood is that it will need some more lemon juice to get it to work. But anyway, yeah, so now I know that this plug is not functioning and it has to be fixed. Okay, so I'm cutting up the celery now into little pieces. Again, sorry you can't really see exactly what I'm doing, but again, when you're using a small blender, the finer the better, so that the blender doesn't take as much work. Of course, if you have a powerful blender, I do, but it just my space here is not as good as far as having everything on this. I have a one small, really small counter, so I have to adjust. Okay, so now I'm adding the celery. And then afterwards I will add the nuts. And again, I'm not going to put as much, and I'm going to chop them up too first. So, okay, so now we got to do this. And then we got to plug it in elsewhere. Thank goodness the other plug works. And then I got to hold it up here, so isn't this fun? Okay, got to plug that in, and here we go. Now you can see it in action. Okay, that looked like it worked pretty good. I'm going to make sure I unplug that so I can add the other stuff. Now I'm going to start adding the nuts, but chop them up first. Okay, get that out of the way. Okay, so now I'm going to take the nuts that are in here and start chopping them up. Now some of the other ones will be easier to chop, like the walnuts and the pecans. They're much softer. So I'm going to try to take a mix of everything, a little bit of everything, but again, I'm not going to do the whole thing because there won't be enough room. And you're probably more of the walnuts and the pecans. And then maybe just a few of the Brazil nuts and some almonds. But again, I'm going to chop them up as fine as I can. And who knows, maybe I will be able to use more of them. But again, we'll just see how it goes with the blender. But this will definitely help, so the blender will have an easier time. And since they're much softer, they're actually easier to chop. Because, like I said, I had them soak for at least, it was more than 8 hours. And then in the morning what I did was too, when the water gets kind of murky, so you want to change the water, like if you're going to let it soak longer. Some people may even soak it for 24 hours. It's up to you how long you want to soak it for. Meaning if you want longer, then, you know, I would change the water when you wake up in the morning, and then again maybe a few hours later as the water, if it gets kind of murkier. So So yeah, this is chopping up pretty good. I want to make sure everything's chopped up so it blends easier, especially those Brazil nuts. So I got the first chop, and now I'm just going to kind of go across with my knife, kind of like that, if you can see what I'm doing. So the benefit of using this small blender, called Personal Blender, is that it's in a container already, but if you want it into a glass container afterwards, you can do that as well. So hopefully this is chopped up enough that it will blend fairly easy. I'm hoping and praying. Again, we got to use that other plug since this plug is not functional. So we're going to put the nuts in here now. And I don't think I'm going to put any more nuts, just for time factor too, because I think this video is starting to get a little long. I don't even know. So I'm going to put some of it in here to start, not all of it. Again, we want to make sure that the blender is going to work easily, and I need to wash my hands off. So again, pardon me for the interruption and not being in the camera. So okay, so I put some of them in, and hopefully I'll be able to get them all in and blend it. It's got a kind of a greenish color already from the zucchini. So I don't know if it'll change color for the, whoops, I got a knot in my cord here. Make sure I can try to get that out. There we go. Now, make sure that's closed properly. I believe it is. Okay, and we turn it upside down this way. All the ingredients come down. And here we go. Alright, working pretty good. Now you see the color is changing a little bit. Alright, I'm happy to see that it's working. Good job. Okay. So now I think we might have room to add the rest. So, go ahead and unplug that again. It's a many-step process here to get it blended. I think we have room for the rest. Whoops, if I get this cord to stay where I want it, it just doesn't want to stay. Come on. Sorry about that, folks who are watching. So, let's see how we're doing here. Oh yeah, it's getting pretty thick. I want to just check to see if any more can go in here to blend. See, it's probably going to stay this color, the greenish color still, because of the zucchini. But I think, I'm going to give it a taste. Tastes yummy. I'm going to try to add the rest of the nuts that are here. It's not a lot that's on the cutting board, just to finish those up. And later on I may add the rest that's in the bowl, but I don't know. I may just eat them like that. Okay. So I think that's it for that. Excuse me again, I need to rinse my hands off. Okay. So just this little bit that's left, and then we're going to call it quits. And I'll show you what you can put it on or in. So I'm just going to set this up. You always have to make sure the ingredients are pushed down on these blenders so that the liquid comes down into it. I'm going to bring this back over here. Whoops. My napkin moved. Okay. Alright, here we go. This is the last blend. Almost done. Alright, doing a good job. Keep cutting those nuts up, really well. Alright, we're going to call it quits. So this is just a twist and turn blender like that. So, let's see what we got here. Put this down. It stays put. Come on. There we go. Alright, let's see what we got now. So, it's got a greenish color, which I don't mind, but it stayed nice and thick. What I was looking for is to have its thickness. You can see that in the camera. See how it's nice and thick? I wanted it thick like a pate. But again, you can water it down for a dressing or a sauce. So what can you do with this? What can you put it on? Oh, we could put a little bit of celery. I could put it in a bowl and cut up a little celery for the texture. So I'm just going to cut up into little cubes and then put it in a bowl. So what can you do with this? again, endless what you can use it with. So if you can use it as a spread of pate, you can put it on a rice cake, on a cracker, in a wrap, like a nori wrap or a coconut wrap. I happen to have those here. I have nori from Goldmine, and I have coconut wraps, new coconut I've also reviewed. You can also use, like I said, let's see, some crackers. That's Mary's Gone crackers. That one I haven't reviewed. You can also use, I have these I really like from Lundberg thin stackers. I haven't reviewed them. Or you can also use a tortilla. Sorry, move out of the camera. Or we can use the original flax crackers from Foods Alive. So we'll be putting a nut pate on a flax cracker, but that's okay, right? It's not terrible. It's the original, so it doesn't have as much flavor as the others. But okay, so I just put some celery here, and I'm gonna put the. You can also use herbs. I happen to not have any fresh herbs, but you can always add fresh herbs to it, like basil, cilantro, dill. I mean, it's endless, and if you like it more like with ginger, garlic or onion flavor, you can always use that. So I'm putting the celery in just for a little texture. I don't want it to be too much. So just so you have an idea and you can see what I did here, I can bring this up to the camera. So there it is. And then I'm going to take one of our flax crackers here from Foods Alive, which I also reviewed. And we can take a nice piece there of the flax cracker and put some on there. And take a taste. Happens to be yummy. Just the way it is. Yum. Very nice. So, that's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Had a little technical difficulties with the blender, with the plug, I should say. And again, these are from the products from Foods Alive that I made my multi-nut pate, or however you want to call it. So I used walnuts, Brazil nuts, and almonds, and also pecans. And I thank you for watching. It's the Rawesome Vegan Gal.